5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're now tuned into the 411 podcast and reading Between the Wines, powered by the Black Diamond Consultations Network. More than a podcast, this is a sanctuary for self-discovery, healing, and personal growth. Here, we explore what it means to live debt-free, not just financially, but spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally. Every episode is part of a journey across our weekly mentorship series: Spiritual Sundays, Mental Mondays, Transformational Tuesdays, Wind Down Wednesdays, Coaching Sessions Thursdays, and Financial Fridays. Each day holds space for wisdom, clarity, and real conversation. So grab your journal, pour your glass, and prepare to go beyond the surface. Because here, we don't just talk, we transform. And now, here's your guide through it all: entrepreneur, mentor, and founder of Black Diamond Consultations, Laren Gaines.
What's going on? Welcome on in. Welcome to Reading Between the Wines. What's going on, everybody? If you are out there, please do me a favor. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, but most importantly, tag a friend, text a friend, invite a friend in, because you never know what you're going to get when you tune in on a 411 podcast and Reading Between the Wines. So we are on episode 58. Tonight, we're going to speak about love on a budget. What does that actually mean, to have love on a budget? Stick around and you most certainly will find out. This is part of the mentorship series. Tonight is Wind Down Wednesday. And I want to say that if you are interested in having a seat at the table, if you'd like to sit down, podcast with me, dissect the assignments that we go through night after night on the mentorship series, please feel free to reach out. You can text me at 609-200-1098. Again, that number is 609-200-1098. You can also DM me on any of my social media platforms. I am on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, TikTok, DLive, Twitch, Daily Motion. And you may also email me as well at info@larengaines.com. Today is Thursday. It's not Thursday, Wednesday. My goodness, I'm already off. And hey, I didn't even have a sip of anything yet. And I have a little special surprise when it comes to that too. But anyway, today is Wednesday, October 8th. So let's get right on into it. Now, we're just coming fresh off of the live part 2 of Disc 5 Restoration. And I had some amazing guests come through and help me. My guest tonight, author slash poet Birdman 313. He was on last week for Wednesday, but I had Queen Dawn Spirit on Spiritual Sunday. I had Neil Jones Jr. for Mental Monday. I had my friend from Bay Beauty and Aesthetics, Miss Shadara Ingram. She was on Coaching Sessions Thursday. And then I had Alex Coquito all the way from Puerto Rico for Financial Fridays. And I must say that it was an amazing experience last week, minus a couple technical difficulties, which for some reason it is what it is when it comes to that. But I had a great experience last week, and it was exactly what I envisioned it. Also, to follow up with the masterclass, Unwrapping Financial Peace, that was amazing as well. If you'd like to watch the replay for the masterclass, please feel free to reach out to me and I'll send you all of the information for that. It was big. I would say it was big. It was epic, and it pretty much gave me, I guess, the benchmark, if that's a right word to use, for what's getting ready to come in the future. More master classes, more podcasting, more live events. 2026 is just going to be amazing. So stick around. We're getting ready to expand, not just from, you know, the podcasting efforts, not even just from the financial aspect of it as being a financial coach, but just the knowledge that, of course, myself, but that I'll be able to pass on and share with the Black Diamond community. I just want to say thank you. And I'm excited about what's coming on in the future. I also have an announcement. So it is Wine Down Wednesday. And I am coming off of the Reading Between the Wines tour. I visited about maybe like 5 different wineries physically, but I've actually sampled from about maybe 12 different wineries, all within the month of September. The Valazano Wine Fest, there were at least 12 wineries there, but I couldn't even visit them all because it was so much going on. And honestly, I don't know who can drink that much and visit all of those wineries and actually know what's going on. So I probably got to about 6 wineries before it was a wrap. Not to mention that I physically visited 5 different wineries individually. So collectively, we're talking about anywhere between 12 plus wineries. Not to mention how much wine each time you go to a winery. We're talking about at least 5 to 10, depending on, the winery, what we have going on here. So tonight, this is just going to be a dry episode. I have my apple juice here. I'm just keeping it real. And tonight is just not it for me. I'm not going to be sampling any wine, but I will continue, exploring the different grapes and talking about the different wines. And, we have a whole encyclopedia here. So when it comes to wine, we're here. But tonight I just wasn't doing it tonight, and I wanted to be real and I wanted to be authentic, and I didn't want to come across, like I said, when I started this, it started in one direction, and then God put his hands on me, and then it was in another different direction. And sometimes I even question and ask myself, do we even continue with the Reading Between the Wine show? But tonight it's like, okay, we know what the direction is. I know what I'm putting out. I know what I'm putting out here in the universe. So now we're going to come with something real. And I have to just be absolutely honest with my with my people. I'm a little bit wined out at this moment after sampling so much wine for the past month. So next week I'll see what happens, how I feel about it. But if not, guess what? We still gonna come here. We still gonna do what we have to do, but we'll just explore the wine sampling in a different aspect, which we'll do here tonight. But even like an hour up to coming here, I'm like, are we sampling tonight? Are we not? I had it in my mind not to, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So I just stuck to it. And, it's not about popping bottles. It's not about how much you can drink. It's not about, I, I want people to understand that wine tasting is an art and it's an experience. Some people take it in a different direction and they just lose the art of it. They lose the experience of it. They pretty much lose the life of what it means to truly wine taste. I have gone to some of these events and I have people who are just like, well, what's the alcohol content? If it isn't 10 plus, then I don't want it. You've already lost the game. That's not what wine tasting is about. You're gonna get the good with the bad. You're gonna get the dry with the sweet. You're gonna get the high alcohol content versus the low to medium. You know, anyway, but it's just gonna be a different episode tonight. Let's get into it. Song of the day, "Spend My Life With You" by Eric Benet, featuring the lovely, talented, I love her voice, Miss Tamia. I've grown to love Tamia over the years. I've heard of her when I was, younger and, 90s. I've heard of Tamia, but I really wasn't into her that much until, most recently, the past decade, I would say. I've been really into her music, especially when she came out with that song, Leave It Smoking. I love Tamia. Oh, and this is off of Eric Benet's album, A Day in the Life, which was released in 1999. So we spoke about love on a budget, and we're getting ready to get into this. So I want you to pay attention here. But during this record, this is one of the lines that really got me. I was incomplete until the day you walked into my life. Now we could stop it right there. We could press pause. We don't even need to go any further. I'm going to repeat it again. The lyrics say, I was incomplete until the day you walked into my life. So, we're going to have to take it there tonight. If anybody out there is feeling this way, that you need somebody to make you whole, it's a problem. Now, I was in a relationship and I was always introduced that way as the other half. I didn't pay it any attention at that moment because I didn't even know who I was at that moment. I don't even think I could have been a half of anything at that moment because I wasn't even that to myself. But if you are feeling that you need somebody else to make you whole, I will caution you to slow down a bit because there's still some self-discovery lessons that are missing. Like we need to take that class over again. And that's not to sound harsh. That's just to keep it real because that's what I've come here to do tonight. See, it's better if you discover these lessons on your own rather than incorporating, cohabitating, aka, as I like to call it, getting wrapped up and trapped up with somebody else. Better off if you learn these life lessons on your own rather than getting incorporated, collaborating, cohabitating, aka getting wrapped up and trapped up with somebody else. Only for them to use that experience to teach you some valuable life lessons. Now, we can say that we want to get into this situation. We can say that we might be incomplete. We can say that this person might makes us whole. And we can say we want to be in this situation, but I would caution that. Because if you step into a situation like that, trust and believe that that experience is going to be used to teach you some valuable life lessons. It's better off if you figure it out on your own rather than going down that path. We got to be very careful about what we sign up for. I've said this before, Proverbs 18:21, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that fall, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. We got to be very careful about the things that we speak over our lives because our subconscious mind has no idea whether we're telling the truth, whether we're telling a lie, whether we're laughing or we're joking. The subconscious mind ain't playing out here in these streets. This is real life, and we really ought to be careful about the spells that we cast over our lives. There is no other way for me to say it. Like I said, I got to keep it real with you. Because when I keep it real with you, that means that I'm keeping it real with myself. And then, of course, in this record, they say, can you just spend the rest of my life with you? So I have to ask you, do we really know what it is like to really spend the rest of your life with somebody? I mean, I haven't experienced that yet. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that if anybody has experienced that. But I would caution you to make sure that you have thought about this very clearly to say that you really want to spend the rest of your life with somebody. Having said that, Please make sure that you have everything lined up. And that person that you think that you may want to spend the rest of your life with, here are some rhetorical questions as we go down this list. You know what we do here? We take it from the spiritual, the mental, the physical, and the financial realm. So 2 Corinthians 6:14, be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion hath light with darkness? So this is what I have to say. Listen, I love you, but we're going to have to love God and His word together today. And your actions are going to need to match up with what your mouth is saying, because lip service is still a thing out here. The next question: do they align with you mentally? Did I sign up to be your friend? Did I sign up to be your lover? Or are you just seeking a therapist? You can't be responsible for anybody else's happiness. I remember somebody tried to make me happy. That is a task that is impossible. If you think that you can walk around and your job is to make somebody else happy, absolutely not. Here's another question: do they align with you physically? Because check this out. You might be into a healthy eating lifestyle. You might be into more of a physical fitness lifestyle. Or are you active daily and all they want to do is scroll on social media? They want to binge watch on Netflix and whatever else streaming services that they got out there, because they have so many now, I lost count. And finally, do they align with you financially? Now, I want you to stick around for the rest of the show, and we're going to get into what happens when somebody doesn't align with you financially. This is a prime example of where there is a misalignment. Episode 58, Love on a Budget. Now, I spoke about how we're going to sample wine, or we're going to discuss wine in a different way. So as I was thinking, what wine would I sample tonight if I was going to? And it's been a little, I guess I'm going to use this word, misty blue. That's a song for anybody that remembers that song. It's been a little misty blue out here, like a little cold. We got some rain. Then it warms up a little bit, but then it's misty, it's cold in between. You got to put your jacket on. You got to take it off. You don't know what's going on. You don't know whether you're coming or going half the time with this weather today. So a good example of what this weather here in good old New Jersey, I would say, is misty blue out there today. I was thinking of Pinot Noir. So I'm going to read you a little bit of Pinot Noir, and this will be my equivalent to sampling the wine tonight. Because if I was going to sample some wine tonight, it would definitely be Pinot Noir. So Pinot Noir makes some of the world's greatest wines. It's medium-bodied red with perfumed aromas that can also evolve with age. It is, however, a fickle grape that demands a cool climate, low yields, and a great care in the vineyards. Its spiritual home is Burgundy, but it is also successfully grown in Oregon and New Zealand. Whoever knew that Pinot Noir is grown in Oregon? I've never been to Oregon. These New World wines tend to be more reliable than their French counterparts, although they rarely reach the same height. Pinot Noir is also used in champagne and other sparkling wines. So I will tell you that if you've ever sampled Pinot Noir, it is a red, bold, bodied wine, and it suits well when you want to cuddle up, especially on a cold day, on a misty blue day. Like, I'm chilling right now in my pajamas, just like ready to go. So it fits perfect. It's one of those great wines for fall, winter. So there you go. And on that note, it is time now to get into the thick of the show here, I'm going to bring in my friend, author slash poet, Birdman313. What's going on? How are you?
Hey, how's it going? I'm doing great, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Tonight I just wasn't doing it. I didn't feel it tonight.
Hey, hey, sometimes it's like that, man. Sometimes your body and your mind need that rest.
I, After last week, I know what you mean. I'm enjoying my rest and relaxation,
Yeah,
chilling, chilling in my pajamas right now. I'm good. I was like
nothing
this.
wrong with that.
I said this week I'm gonna love it, and it always happens. I know what happens when I do the live events. It's like a ramp up, ramp up, ramp up, and it gets crazy, and then I just enjoy like rest and relaxation afterwards.
Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that.
So we got a little cold front here in Jersey. What you got over there?
Oh, it's still in the 90s here.
That's craziness. So so,
I know, man. It's like October, man. And it's still in the 90s. So, hey, what can I say? Just enjoy it.
now I will say that I'm not mad at this weather too much because I was just chilling the last week of September and pleasantly surprised. I said, "You know what? It is September and it's like 80s. I'm enjoying this."
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
we really did have a good summer this year.
Okay.
And then as it's October, even though today, like it was crazy today, like I put my jacket on, then I take it off, put my jacket on, then I take it off. But still, I'm thinking to myself, there were some times where I was just like thrown back, like it's October and it's still good out here.
Yeah. Like I sent you that message, man. I don't know, man. I don't know what I was thinking, man. I forgot all about it. And I was like, you know what? That's the day. Oh man, it's October. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm kind of, because normally October is not this warm, it's not in the 90s. It's normally like around the 80s, 70, 80s, like that. So it's different. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but I have to say I ain't mad at it.
Yeah.
I ain't mad
Well,
at
you
it.
know what? I'm put it like this. I don't have no wood to knock on, but thank God we haven't had no storms. And that's the good thing, man. That we haven't had any. So that means it's good times right now.
Yeah, because are pretty much out. Well, we're not out of that season yet. When does it end?
I'm not sure because I know there's been, it been some storms out there in the Atlantic, and it's been, they said few of them out there in the Pacific, but they haven't did, this year they haven't really did well. I can say, at least where I'm at down here in Houston, they hadn't done any damage. And
Mm,
normally, excuse me, normally we've had, some type of damage, flooding or
hmm hmm
trees down or stuff like that, and we haven't had that. At least not in my part, but I'm like in the southern part of Houston, south side, far
mm.
south side. I'm right on the county line, so
Oh, okay.
that makes it a whole lot better too. I didn't realize how much living when I lived on the north side, man. It was always getting storms up there. Since I've been out here, it's like every once in a while, So hey, that's been something that I've learned a lot about where you live at in Houston, because I've lived on the north side, south side, west side, and east side. The south side has been the best side so far. So
Mm. Now, when it gets cold, when y'all quote unquote say that it's cold, it's winter time, what is the lowest that the temperature drops? And what month is that going to be?
normally that's like around January, February. It can get as low. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it has gotten as low as 35 here.
Oh, okay. All right.
So but and if it outside of the freeze that we have, it normally be that low, like maybe for 3 or 4 days, and then the temperature start rising back up.
Okay, so basically, I guess Texas is the place to be because you won't really like experience too much.
Yeah, as far as the cold,
I'm
the well, we reason why we don't worry about the snow because the ground is, it has snowed here. Don't get me wrong. I've done some. I've taken some pictures, shot some videos. The snow doesn't last because the ground is so warm here.
right, right. Hmm.
So that's a good thing. It's like I think like every 4 or 5 years we may get some snow. And as far as it's
Hmm.
sticking, it's only stuck. Well, let me see. I've only seen snow stick 3 times. Just even when I was on vacation, when my parents we used to come down here on vacation, I seen it stick one time then and twice. No, 3 times since I've been here. So it stuck like 4 times that I had been in the Houston area.
And I bet when that happens, all hell breaks loose because people don't even know what to
Oh
do.
man, they like lose their mind. Dude, hey, don't go, hey, don't get out there and drive. Cause man,
No.
oh, you know, it can't drive when it's raining. So
Mm,
hey man, it gets real crazy, man, because they feel like they can still do 80 and 90 on snow covered roads, man, or wet roads, man.
that's
You just got some. Man, I don't like to call out people by that word, but you just got some people that seem like, man, they just don't understand that the roads when they get slick, it's dangerous.
well, yeah. We what about the tractor trailers that just keep plowing by now? For here, we have experience with that, but even I know better. But I just see like the big trucks just go flying by, and I'd be like, "Well, y'all just keep it moving, because I ain't got nothing to do with
Yeah,
that. I'm gonna just stay in my lane." But yeah, well, good thing you won't have to experience that, because people in a good Northeast, we know what's getting ready to
yeah.
happen.
I know. Like I become a more of a homebody. I mean, I get out, but when the weather gets bad like that, hey, I don't. There's no need for me to go nowhere. Like I tell people, I said I
That's
have
what
my music, my computers, and I don't need to go nowhere.
that's what I try to tell everybody at work, and for people who still have to
Uh
work
huh.
out there. That's what we try to tell our employers. There's no need for us to come in today.
Yeah.
No need.
Yeah.
You don't need us. You don't need us today.
Oh yeah.
All right, so we are back in our Money Hacks book. We learned some great things over the past couple months inside of this book here. So, what number do you have for me? We are, it has 275. So, I think we recently started hitting a couple that we have, you know, gone through before. So, what number do we have tonight?
Um. Let me try 213. Yeah.
213. All right, let's see what this is. Here we go. 213. Ask your employer for lower fees. We just spoke about employers. Here we
Yeah.
go. Your employer's 401k option may be limited to a few dozen fund options. That might give you enough flexibility to choose a direction for your investments, but what if all of the expense ratios look too high? Is it worth asking your employer if there are any other options for you? Ask your human resources department if it is possible for your company to add another option through your plan administrator. If there's potential for you to keep more of your money you earn, there's potential for your coworkers too. So everyone should be happy about the potential change. Now, I'm just gonna ask you, Birdman, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, the way things are going now, ooh, man, yeah, you need to find out because you could be putting your money somewhere where when you do need it, it's not there or not as much as you think it
Mm,
is.
yeah, I say that depending on what company you work for, I mean, it could go one way or the other. If you work for a big
Yeah,
corporation, it might fall on deaf ears. I would say it most likely will fall on deaf ears. And I'm not saying it about every big corporation, but I've worked for a couple of them. And then on the other side, I've also worked for like, you know, startup companies. I've worked for, a couple million, not too much.
yeah,
And also asking for things like going directly to the CEO of the company because you have that close connection with that person, it may fall on deaf ears as well.
yeah.
So here's the thing that I have to say after only a few years of learning what I've learned. And again, I have plenty more things to learn. And this is what I spoke about, the growth and the knowledge that I want to pass down to everybody. It's better off that you take care of your money yourself. I had a discussion with somebody almost a week ago, and the question that I had asked them was, you really want to pay somebody else to manage your money? Shouldn't you know what's going on with your own money? And then people may say, hey, Laren, well, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. And then my next question is, well, don't you think it's a good idea for you to figure it out? Do you really want to put your money in somebody else's hands and listen to what they have to say? You think that they're always going to be telling you the truth? Hmm, I don't know. And like you said, what's going on in this world today? All you got to do is turn on the news and you see what's going on.
Just right quick, I worked for a company and they wouldn't even tell people that, each employee has stock option. And if a person worked there long enough, and if a person, when a person quit or retired, then some of them will find out about it. It was a lot of them that did not. I was one of them. I worked in, and I was always told, long you got 2 years in, you gain money. Okay. I worked there 3.5 years. And so I left there because I had had a knee injury, and the doctors had told me working on it was at a lumber company, and working on concrete is bad for my knees. So I did. I quit, and I didn't even know I had this. I get a letter saying that I had stock options. So when I went to
Hmm.
cash it in, they tell me, "Oh, no, 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 you have nothing." I said, "Well, why you send me this letter?" And they said, "Oh, that was a mistake."
That is insane. I remember you telling me
Yeah,
this.
so that always made me leery about any company approaching me with stock options. And I mean, I did. And then they said, "Well, you know what? You get your attorneys, and we'll get ours." I knew I lost them because I couldn't afford no attorney.
I was just gonna say some of these big corporations, they're okay with going toe to toe with people because they have the big
Yes,
lawyers and
yes.
stuff.
And I'm like, I got the statement right here. And so one of the guys I worked with, he said, "Hey man, did you get your stock option?" I told him what happened, and he started laughing. He said, "Hey man," he said, "What happened is," he said, "you're not by yourself." He said, "All of us that's still there is getting your stock options." And I'm like,
That is
"Yeah."
insane.
He said, "Or it's going back to the people who worked in the office." in the front office. And he said that's why they never wanted any blacks to work in the office, because they knew somebody would go to searching about that, and they was keeping it to itself. Because then I found out it was kind of like a family thing.
I was gonna say, yeah, is that company still in business
No,
today?
no, no, no. They been
Yeah,
closed
yeah.
down, and I was like, yeah, okay, man. I said, man, this is crazy. But I learned then, and like I said, I had a couple more companies I worked for, and I just wouldn't deal with it. I'm like, you know what? I don't trust you. And it's like Diana. I call her my better half, because she does help me with my poetry, as far as editing. And she used to tell me, if you're not counting your money, she said, guarantee somebody else is counting it for you. And
Exactly.
she always say that. And she said, you don't check your bank account, and I'm like, well, no. She said, well, that's you. She said, I check mines regular. She got me where I was checking mines, man. I got to checking mines regular. And that's how I caught some money being taken out for bills that I didn't even have no more.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
A lot of people,
Yeah, when you start
huh? Go ahead.
I was gonna say when you start to pay attention to that, it opens up your eyes, and that's one of the lessons that, I teach, like, go back last month and let's see exactly what was deducted from your bank account, and let's have a conversation about it, because a lot of times when people come back to me, they're like, I had no idea I still had this subscription on. I thought I canceled this. This is a gym membership that, I've been paying for and had no idea.
Yes, yes. And and so what I do is once or twice every week, I check my account. I check what's been paid out. And sometimes I'll be like, wait a minute, I don't, oh yeah, that's right, I did. I know where they came from. But I'm always, even my
Mhm.
credit card statements, I want to see
Mhm.
what's being paid out.
Mhm. The Japanese, they follow that process as well, and I love it because what it does is it teaches you, first of all, you know exactly what's coming in and going out, but it will help shape you for the next week.
Yeah.
Like, we're all human. Sometimes we overspend, we, miss
Yeah.
budget. But if you're looking at it on a day, you don't have to look at it daily, but some people do. That might be a little intense, but weekly basis, definitely a monthly basis. But if you do it on a week by week basis, that's something that I
Uh,
do. I, I know how I'm stepping into the next week, because if I do too much one week, then I know, okay, we need to, foster a little bit more self control, and we need to pull the strings in a little bit.
that's
Like, you don't need to go here, you don't need to go there. And then therefore you can align and come in properly by the end of the month, and your budget is on
Yeah, that's
point.
funny you said that, because I just looked at my statement today, and I was like, wow, I said I was gonna pay this next month, but I went on it and did it, and I said I was gonna put it off until, but I went on and paid it, and I'm like, okay, it's time to put the brakes on for a little bit,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
so I said, okay, man, I'm starting to get in that habit, which I didn't have all through in the years, and now I'm understanding, a little bit better.
And then you know what they say, when you know better, you do better. So that's
Yes,
good.
yes,
Now, I want to talk about some current events. I don't know much about it, but I think I overheard, with this government shutdown,
yeah.
that if the workers are out for 30 days, they lose their benefits.
You know what,
Did you hear
man?
that?
I've heard some crazy things, man. Like it's being said that some of them won't get back pay, which they said was put in. That was they said no, if you was shut down, you'll get back pay. But now I'm hearing that some of them is not gonna get back pay. Some ain't gonna even have a job, and it's not even their fault. And
But
I'm
we,
like,
mm,
man, is it really worth? And I was always told that because I remember I was thinking about one time getting a government job. As it was, I don't know who it was. Somebody told me, "Do you really want a government job?" And I'm
mm,
like, "What you mean by that?" They said, "Man, take a look. If they shut down, you don't get paid."
yeah, that's something
And so,
else.
like that, and that made me back away from you know getting a government job. And it was like it's too much control. You don't have any. It's all the
Mm.
government that controls everything. So,
I think I heard something that said that if they're out for 30 days, then they lose all of their
and I
benefits.
wouldn't doubt it. Hey man, right now,
And
I
I'm
wouldn't
thinking,
doubt it.
and I'm thinking to myself, what and what would happen in the event should that
Well,
happen? Do you know
I,
how
I
many
heard that some
people
of
would?
them are already looking for jobs elsewhere.
Mm, yeah.
So, yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry about that.
No, no, no. I'm just thinking like, all type of hell that would break loose if that happens. How many people would just be ready to?
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. Something
Oh
else.
yeah.
This is why you cannot rely on them. Anybody out there that thinks that they are going to take care of you, absolutely not. Mm, this world is
Well, you
something
know what?
else.
What made I used to hear people say when they want their money from you, they want it. But when they owe you, they take your time. And that's always been a phrase that I always stuck by.
Yeah.
That because my
Yeah.
dad used to tell me that all the time. He said, "Yeah," he said, "when them people want their money, they want their money."
Huh.
He said, "But when they owe
Yeah. I
you,"
don't.
he said, "they take their sweet loving time."
Yeah. I don't play with them.
Yeah,
I just don't play
yeah,
with them. Like, okay, let's get this under control because I don't want nothing to do
yeah.
with it. But yeah, yeah. All right. So let's get into tonight's
Sure.
assignment. All right, dear Laren. So I have been dating this guy for about 6 months now, and things are going great emotionally, but financially we are not on the same page. I'm all about living
Hey.
within my means, building savings, and paying down debt. He, on the other hand, is what I call a spender with style. He loves eating out, buying new clothes, and spontaneous weekend getaways. I admire that he enjoys life, but it's starting to cause tension. For example, last weekend he surprised me with a $400 dinner. Beautiful gesture, but I couldn't help feeling anxious the entire time thinking about what else the money could have gone toward. When I tried to talk to him about being more financially intentional, he brushed it off saying, "You can't take money with you when you die." That comment really stuck with me because while I get to the point, I also believe in preparing for the future. My question is, how do I maintain romance and connection without sabotaging your financial goals? Can two people with completely different money mindsets really build something lasting, or am I setting myself up for future heartbreak? Jalissa from Charlotte, North Carolina. Now I'm going to take it to the top. Dear Laren, so I have been dating this guy for about 6 months now, and things are going great emotionally, but financially, we are not on the same page. I'm all about living within my means, building savings, and paying down debt. He, on the other hand, is what I call a spender with style. He loves eating out, buying new clothes, and spontaneous weekend getaways. I admire that he enjoys life, but is starting to cause tension. For example, last weekend he surprised me with a $400 dinner, beautiful gesture, but I couldn't help feeling anxious the entire time, thinking about what else the money could have gone toward. When I tried to talk to him about being more financially intentionally, excuse me, when I tried to talk to him about being more financially intentional, he brushed it off saying, "You can't take money with you when you die." That comment really stuck with me because while I get to the point, I also believe in preparing for the future. My question is, how do you maintain romance and connection without sabotaging your financial goals? Can two people with completely different money mindsets really build something lasting, or am I setting myself up for future heartbreaks? What do you think?
You know, this one here, I've taken it in I took it in several different ways. They've only been together 6 months. She don't say they live together, so I'm kind of curious. I mean, I'm like this: if he can afford it, why complain about it? He is not hurting your money, your account. She didn't say, she
Mm,
never said that she has to use her money for anything. She's talking about him spending his money. So I'm like, so he's spending his money. So maybe if you do something with your money by saving it, you shouldn't worry about what he's doing. I understand that part where, because you know what, growing up, that was drilled into our heads that you can't take money with you when you pass away.
mm-hmm,
And my parents, both of them, they didn't have high paying jobs or nothing like that, but they always told me, "Hey, enjoy yourself because enjoy yourself for that day because you don't know what tomorrow may bring." But
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
also put a little bit to the side. She didn't say, she don't know, he could be putting a little bit to the side without her even knowing about it.
Hmm. Depending on what kind of job he has,
Yeah,
right? Maybe he can afford it.
exactly. And I'm like, she's saying that he spent $400 on dinner. I'm like, okay, it must be one of them real top of the line expensive restaurants. I
Mm-hmm,
mean,
mm-hmm.
I have never spent that much on a meal. And she's, saying how she started feeling anxious the whole time. So is y'all living together? That's the thing. Are y'all living together or what? It's only been 6 months. So why are you worried about it? Enjoy it while you can. Because like I said, tomorrow
Mm.
is not promised to nobody. And you know, when you do pass away, if you don't have it set up for your kids, if you have kids, then hey, the state gonna get it.
Yeah, that's a mess. That is so true.
So
And after,
and she's, I understand putting money up for the future and all that, but also, you need to enjoy yourself, like I said. And I mean, it's kind of like she got me on all of this, kind of, worrying about what he's doing instead of just worrying about what she's doing and enjoy the fact that she said he buys his own clothes. From what I'm saying, how I read it was he buys his own clothes, whatever he wants, he buys it himself. So why is she worried about it?
mm, you touched some good points there. You said enjoy yourself. Isn't that a Jackson song?
Yeah,
Enjoy
yeah,
yourself. Okay. That song
yeah,
came to
yeah,
mind. That's okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna take it to the top here. So you had a good point. If this is somebody else's money, why are you worried about it? That is such a good point. If this is somebody else's money, why you worry about it? And I think this is a prime example of people who, and I know I used to be like this. Just because you know what the right thing to do does not mean that the next person does. And just because you have learned, how to handle your money, how to budget properly, maybe somebody spoke to you what, true financial literacy is, and then you happen to fall in love or shack up or link up with somebody across the way that comes from a different background, different culture, they don't know anything about it. Now you're trying to teach somebody something, and if they're not receptive, now there's tension, now there's anxiety, now there's an attitude. This is a prime example of where we should not be getting wrapped up with people when we're not equally yoked. That's a prime example. So once you learn that, you figure it out, we got to go back to what the scriptures say, and we have to check ourselves, and we have to have that talk with God like Stevie Wonder and say, okay, listen, should I really be in this relationship? Because every time I see them doing something that doesn't align spiritually with what I know better, now all of a sudden I have an attitude, or there's tension, or I feel like I want to correct them. I feel like I want to, jump in and do something. No.
Yeah, because what she's saying is, oh, they have a good, as far as emotionally, it's great, but financially, and like I said, I'm like saying, well, you only been with them 6 months. I could say if y'all been together 6 years, and you say you got all this debt, credit card debt, house note, car note. But like I said, evidently he's doing well for himself, so he can live like this.
Well, she's also saying that she likes building, living within her means, paying down debt. So then she says, he, on the other hand, is what I call a spender with style.
Yeah,
So my question is, what does a spender with style mean? Is he paying down debt, or is he using debt? That was never established. Is he building savings, or is he not building savings? The fact that she might say that she has anxiety and tension and it might be causing issues might lead me to believe that maybe she knows something about his savings and debt that maybe she just didn't reveal. So let's just say that he is in debt and he's doing it the wrong way. Let's just say that. But on the flip side, what if he has a great job, and what if he can afford it, but she just is not up to his level on an income level, on a financial level? Maybe she's thinking of all of these things in her mind, but she has no idea where all this money's coming from.
that's how I feel about it. I'm like, okay, like I said, the $400 dinner, like I said, man, and I think I can say I've been to restaurants, and I don't think we ever spent that much on one dinner. And if we did, it's because we was able to do it without any
Mm-hmm.
problems. I think I know I can tell you this: the most expensive restaurant we've been to is we went to Craig's out in West Hollywood, and that was a few years back. We went there, we ate dinner, and but we haven't been back. Um, so it wasn't no $400, and I'm like, that's why I'm trying to say, man, you got restaurants
Yeah.
like that in your area that it's $400, but then you got to think about, was they buying drinks?
Right. And you already know what type of restaurant it's going to be when you sit down and look at the menu and there are no
Oh
prices.
yeah, I got caught one time.
I
So what? Yes, because we went to workers when I was working. That's when I was doing outreach. We went to this
hmm
restaurant that's here in Houston. We sit down, and I'm like, where the prices at? you know. But
Right,
then the
right.
people that was coming in was like lawyers, and I'm like, oh man, I'm like, I looked at my coworkers, I'm like, oh man, I'm kind of scared to even order a drink here, you know. And And you know, like it's right next to the baseball stadium. So you kind of like had to say is, you know, the crowd that comes in there is not no everyday crowd. You know, it's people that got money, and you know, I ordered a little bit, and when I got my bill, I was scratching my head. And they said, "What's wrong?" I said, "Oh, nothing." Hey, you know, I said, "Damn, man, I can't go out and eat no more for at least another week or two." But you know, like I said, it was a nice restaurant, but they didn't have no prices, and that was the first time I had ever been to one like that.
And don't ask what the price is because that's an embarrassing moment. Like, how much does this cost? Yeah, no, we don't do that.
Right, exactly,
Mm-mm. Not when you go to those type of restaurants.
right. And so something else, look up a restaurant. If I see dollar signs, I know that's
Oh
not for
yeah.
me.
Though they have the amount of dollar signs, like there's one, two, three, and then I think it goes up to four or
Yeah,
five, where you know how expensive it's gonna be.
exactly. Exactly, man. That's what I'm saying, man. When I see them dollar signs like that, nah, this ain't for me. But
Now, I think that this. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, go ahead. I'll just go ahead. I'll say it later.
I, I, this part here. She says, when I tried to talk to him about being more financially intentional, he brushed it off saying you can't take money when you die. Now, that part is an issue. And I know you spoke about that if something happens to you and you don't have your money aligned properly, the state gets it, which is so true. So for people who have struggled to build wealth, and unfortunately, if they don't have wills and trust and all of those things set up, and if it's not managed properly, then yes, the state will take it. And that is so unfortunate, but that's a game that is played. And that's exactly how this system keeps rolling over and over and over again. And they will gladly take that money from your loved ones. So, people out there, if you have something, you want to make sure you set it up and you want to make sure you have instructions of how you want things executed because trust and believe the powers that be, they don't care nothing about your family.
Exactly.
Now, in, in Proverbs, it says, a good man, this is one of my favorite ones, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. So, this man here that says you can't take money when you die, he clearly doesn't understand. And I mean, I don't know what their age is. There's no children involved in here, but that type of statement right there, you can't take money when you die, is from nobody else but the enemy. Because God says a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. So if you are a just man, you're not too concerned about your own children. You're making sure that you do everything that you can possibly do to make sure that your grandchildren have something far more better than what you can ever imagine. So that statement of you can't take money with you when you die, that's an evil statement. And I'm just calling it what it
Yeah,
is.
but if you don't have any kids, that's what I'm saying. He had, you know, she
Yeah.
never spoke about that. I can understand. Like I said, like I said, growing up in our neighborhood, that was always a thing. What people said, even in our schools, our teachers would say, you know, if you have kids, then you set something aside. But if you don't have kids, enjoy yourself. We was taught that, and even in school, you know. So
Well, now I'm gonna say something about the school system. And you probably are not gonna like it. Maybe they won't like
I
it.
don't care.
Anybody listening won't like it. Listen, they are not here to help us. Anything that they taught us was a lie. Whatever these schools think that they were doing, they were doing nothing except teaching us to be stuck to the system and become slave to the games. I don't listen and nor do I believe anything that I have been taught. And it's my mission to delete and destroy everything that they taught me, because they don't teach us about financial literacy. They just teach us to become slaves and work for the system and get a good job and, you know, make sure you get benefits and this and that. Please.
I understand that, but when you're taught that from I say the fourth grade to the 12th grade, and you hear that all the time, that is
Oh,
something
come on.
that
Yeah,
is something that is that sticks with you.
absolutely.
And I'm
Because we
I
have
trust me, man. My school, my city that I grew up in, man. You know what? I tried to forget a whole lot of things because there was things that they told me, just like I would never be anything. I would never do anything. I heard that from neighbors, the kids I grew up with. And like I said, man, all that, and I have a friend, we talk about that sometimes, and he said it. He said, man, you know what? He said, really? We didn't learn nothing in school. I said, you got that right.
if they really were doing something and wanted to help society and help us, what they would do is teach our kids how to balance a checkbook. They would teach the kids to know what good debt versus bad debt is.
Right.
They would teach people what an asset versus a liability is. They would teach them about investing in the stock market. They would teach them about being entrepreneurs and starting their own businesses rather than relying on somebody else to give them something. So it's part of the game. And as I'm saying what I'm saying, the powers that be may not like it, and I get it, but
Yeah.
I'm here to teach financial
But
literacy, so it
also,
is what it is.
when I go back, when like I said, when I hear what she's saying and what he's saying, it's like, to me, they came from two different. I always say two different worlds. She came from a world where she was told or taught to put money aside, save money, whatever. He was more or less taught, spend it,
Yeah,
enjoy
yeah.
yourself, and
And
which both of them is good. I mean, hey, like I said, if you have a good job and you can enjoy yourself, okay, but also you gotta have enough to say, I need to put some aside. And I tell my kids this all the time: put something aside for a rainy day. And when my parents used to tell me that, I said, a rainy day. And I used to think, it just shows you, man. I used to think they was talking about when it rains outside.
I
You know,
listen, I was told it too, and I didn't know what it meant.
yeah. And then finally, my they said to me, they said, a rainy day. We're talking about when maybe you get hurt on the job, maybe you lose your job.
Mm,
You will have something put aside to hold you over until you get another job. And I'm like, oh, okay.
yeah,
You know,
and what I call that is an emergency
yeah,
fund, and most Americans don't have an emergency fund, don't know what an emergency fund is, and don't have something saved for a rainy
that's
day.
true. And that's something I learned. And I mean, don't get me, I got caught a lot of times. And it wasn't because I didn't try to save, but I lived by myself
How
a
about
lot. So therefore I had to foot all the bills. That's why I have no problems with paying bills. Cause I lived for, by myself, not by choice, by myself. And I had to pay all the bills, the lights, water, all that. So I'm used to paying bills, taking care of that, and whatever's left over, okay, if I can go and enjoy myself or something, I would. So my
hmm
thinking to, compared to a lot of people are totally different, because that's the way I just look at it. I'm like, well, if you had to pay the bills, you had to do like I do. I lived on my own a lot, and there was times when, yes, I had to pay the rent, I had to pay the car note, I had to pay the utilities and buy the food, and I had no help. I said, you kind of learn how to spread your money out. I said,
Mm,
something that school did not teach me, period.
right. I think I heard you say it's it wasn't that I did not want to save, but then I want to add to it because I think about myself too. It's not that I did not want to save, because in my heart I'm like, this is the right thing to do. But here's the kicker. It's not that I did not want to save, I did not know how to save. I think that that's a lot of people out there. They want to do the right thing, but they just don't know how to do it, and nobody taught us.
Exactly. And I agree with that too. When you're not taught that, man, I mean, hey, you do what you're taught.
Exactly. And like I say, more is caught than more is taught. Sometimes people don't need to be taught how to be bad with money. All they got to do is just watch their parents, and they got the front row tickets to the show. And then they just basically do the same thing. And most likely it'll be a little bit worse. And as each generation goes on, it gets a little worse, and it gets a little worse until the entire generation is wiped out.
Right. And like I said, I seen, like my parents was good to me, and I seen how they did things, and I never did approve of my dad when it came to money, you know, but that was the way he was taught. And my mom,
Mhm.
she kind of like went with it, and her and I talked about it many days, and I used to always tell her, you know what? I don't ever want to be the way dad was about money. And I mean, I used to pray to God, hey, I don't want to be like the way he was towards money and towards material things. I didn't want that. I said, and
Mhm.
I told her, I said, maybe that's why I have such a big issue with having a bank account, or, just saving, because I do believe in putting stuff aside and taking care of my bills first. And then, like I said, if I have something left over, then hey, I go ahead. And I think that's why I didn't have many girlfriends, man, because hey, I could never. It wasn't that I couldn't. It's just that I was too ashamed of. Well, I can't take you to dinner, or I couldn't do this and couldn't do that. And I always thought it was about money, but I was just choosing the wrong type of women. you know,
I know that's right. I know that's
that's
right.
that's how that was. Instead of choosing
I
those
know
who
that's right.
who didn't, it wasn't about money. And like I can say, my first wife, I didn't realize that. And we went to school, high school together, and that was the issue with us. And when and I was always, hey man, why I always pick these old bonehead women that they feel, you gotta, they always want to you gotta take them to nice restaurant. When I say nice restaurant, expensive restaurant, or you ask them, hey, let's go to the park. I don't want to go to no park. But hey, when you say let's go to the movies, some of them say I don't want to go to the movie, but you say go to a club, they ready to go because they know you gonna spend some money.
Mm, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. As my friend says, as you get through what you've gone through, you don't have to worry because now you know how to pick them.
Yes. Or or even I forgot,
That
even the
goes.
mall. Now you say the mall, oh man, hey, she gonna beat you out to the car and she don't even have the key and the car's already cranked up. Yeah. So like I
That
said,
is funny. Yeah.
I learned a lot, and sometimes I be saying, because there's a song, I can't think of who it was, I wish I'd known then what I know now. I can't think of who I was listening to it the other day. I wish I knew then what I know now.
Mm,
And I'm like, man, that is so true. Sometimes I sit back and I drift off and I think about
mm-hmm.
that. And I'm like, yeah, man, there are some things I wish I knew then that I know now. I wouldn't have went through what I went through, or I wouldn't have did what I did.
Yeah, sometimes we can get into that aspect of thinking, but then you can't stay there too long because if that's the case, then you wouldn't be where you are here today.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a cycle, right? That we go through. Yeah. So I say
Oh,
to
you
wrap
know who
this
I
thing
know
up
who
here.
it
This
is that does one song like that. Rod Stewart does one. Does a song about that.
what's it called?
I wish I knew. I wish I knew what I now know. Rod Stewart.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah. And you know what? You know
Hmm.
what's so funny about that? In my neighborhood, because I listen to all type of music, I was always
Hmm.
teased. Cause I would listen to the Rolling Stones. I listen to Rod Stewart. I mean, I just listen to everybody. And I got teased. I
Yeah,
got teased a lot, man, about that.
I used to try to listen to rock and roll in the I guess 80 late 80s 90s, and I couldn't play it in my house. I remember I remember one time my mom came home from work and I put it on. And did she tell me to turn that blank
Yeah.
off?
I
So
if I listened to it at my
I
house, long I had it turned down. Cause like I told you, my dad was
that's how
my
I had to
dad
do
was
it.
he
Yeah.
was a musician, and he just said, "Show us some respect." I'm like, okay, I don't care about you.
Hmm.
Listen, what you listen to, long you have it down, and only you can hear it. So he went. He
Yeah.
the first one to get me some headphones. He said, "This way," he said, "you can listen to it as loud as you want. We won't hear a thing." And
Mm,
that's how it was with him. Like I told you, when Isley Brother came out with "Fight the Power," and they got that one part in there
mhm.
when all this BS comes down. My mom was raising so much. She was like, "Where the hell you get that from?" I said, "Mama, you just bought it for me." And she
That's
said, "If I
funny.
had have known that," I said, "Mom, it's the Isley Brothers." And she didn't believe me. And I said, "Mom, come on down here, listen to it on my stereo." I said, just chill. She listened to it, and then she said, "Okay, but hey, put your headphones on." I'm like, "Not a problem."
That's
Yeah,
funny. But I think I know where you're coming from. So I had family members that would say certain things about the music that I picked at the time. And but
yeah,
nowadays that's thrown out the window. Like you can listen to anything you want. And I talk to all types of people. I say, "What kind of music you listen to?" I listen to this. I go down the whole thing. Country, this, that, the next,
yeah,
the other. And it's we're more well-rounded when it comes to
right,
musically. I think as people are brought up, as children are brought up nowadays, it's more acceptable to listen to anything. And so many different genres are crossing over, you know the first time that I ever experienced rock and roll and hip hop being crossed over was Aerosmith and Run DMC.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
and then after that, so many different. I mean, it's just crazy. You got like Lil Durk and Morgan Wallen, which is a country singer, hip hop. I mean,
yeah,
it just continues to go
right,
on and on. Kid Rock, Ti, Mary J. Blige did a record together.
yeah.
So, I mean, like.
But
Mm.
but then and that's why I gave both these people we're talking about tonight. I gave them benefit of the doubt. I'm like, okay, maybe she grew up in a poor environment. I'm just saying. Because the way she talking, that's kind of like what it sounds like. She grew up in an environment that didn't have a lot of money, that they tried to save every penny they could. Whereas he grew up in an environment where, if you have the money, hey, spend it. And, she asked that question at the end about could they be in love long as she keep the attitude she has? No. I can answer that. They won't, because she will not understand. She will not understand it that, you know, I got the money. And then that's another thing that I was taught to my parents. And like a lot of the stuff I learned, my parents taught me. I didn't learn it in school. And they taught me, they said, if you have, my dad would say, if you have the money, knock yourself out. But if you don't have the money, he said, you got to sit down and you got to break down the bills for that for each month and what you got to pay coming out out of each one of your checks. And my parents is the one that taught me that. I didn't learn that in school because, like you said, we didn't have no finances. And our high school, all I wanted to do was get the hell up out of there.
I know that's right.
I hated my high school so bad. I had even talked about dropping out and going in the military. That's how bad I hated my high school in the city I grew up in.
Mm, I understand where you're coming from.
So like I said, I gave them both a benefit of the doubt. I'm like, okay, she probably grew up, hard times. So you can't get upset with her. He probably grew up where, he had a little, his family had a little money, and because he had to learn it from somebody to just spend like that.
This is a prime example of, I just say, when two people are not, a good match.
Right.
You might have a great connection. You might be good friends, but that's not somebody that you probably should like marry, and not right away. Like, this has only been 6 months. Maybe you're putting too much into this. Maybe you're overthinking this situation, pre-planning something that you have no idea what's what. Don't put yourself in a situation. And here's another example. If you are on a ladder, and I've said this before, if you are climbing up a ladder, you're on your financial ladder, you're on your spiritual ladder, whatever ladder you're climbing up, you may like somebody who's down on the ground. But if you're already up, what's easier, for you to pull them up to your level or for them to pull you down?
Yeah.
So, like, they got both feet planted on the ground. You got one hand on a ladder, you got one foot on a ladder, and you dangling one foot off and one hand off to try to lift somebody up that has both feet planted on the ground, stuck in whatever situation they're in, stuck in whatever mindset they're in. What you think is going to happen there? Who's going to win? The person that's on the ground or the person that's on a ladder trying to pull you
Yeah.
up?
And you know what else? This just shows you the lack of communication.
Yes. Because if there was communication, there wouldn't be all this back and forth. There wouldn't be this tension. There wouldn't be this anxiety. There wouldn't be this questioning, because we would know what the deal is.
Exactly.
And like you said in the beginning, if that's his money. Now, this is one thing. If you have somebody who wants to just do something nice for you, this is not about taking advantage of people. This is about understanding, having that communication, having that understanding. Now, after I explain to you the path that I have chosen, you do whatever you want to do. But after I told you what I'm going to do, now, if you want to come in and you want to spend your money and you want to be reckless on your behalf, trust and believe that don't have nothing to do with me, but that has everything to do with you.
Exactly.
I know that sounds terrible, but we are not here to take advantage, and you can't be a taker So you can't look at this situation and be like, oh, I'm gonna just take it, or I'm gonna just, do the $400 dinners. I'm gonna just because life doesn't work that way, and you can't be a taker. And if you're just a taker and you're not a giver, it's gonna backfire.
Yes. And like I said,
But
and I've had a lot of people ask me the question, what do I think about any relationship? And I always say communication. You have to have some type of communication. You have to have communication to understand or get a feeling of how this person is and how that person is. Because without communication, hey man, you like a hamster running running around on a what's that wheel on the treadmill,
yeah, yeah,
and it kind of seems like she was cool with the flashiness, but now she's 6 months in it. It's kind of like she's worried, and I'm like, that's the thing. I mean, y'all living together, or you haven't said anything about your bills. So, I mean, you had to put all of that in perspective. But I understand her, understand him, where he coming from.
yeah. So I think it's right down the middle. There's really no right or there's no right or wrong answer here. We have no idea. We have two people living two separate lives, and it sounds like somebody's trying to combine two into one.
Yes,
But at 6 months, I think we're doing that a little bit too quick.
right,
That's mine.
right, and that's like I said, because I read this and I kept reading it, and I'm like, okay. And then I showed, like I said, I always let Diane. I'm like, hey, this is what we're gonna talk about. So a lot of times she'll sit in here and she'll listen, and she'll give me her feedback on it. And then she said that relationship ain't gonna work out. you know, straight up. But that's all she said. It ain't. It's not gonna work out. You know. And I'm
Right.
like, okay, yeah, because he's a free spender, and she's he's what you call a free spender, and she's what you call frugal.
Yeah, don't be unequally yoked. It doesn't make sense. Like, find somebody that's on your same
Right.
page so that it makes sense.
Right. So and at first when she said that, I'm like, okay. And then I thought about it, and I'm like, that do make a lot of sense. But then I had to read it again, and then I'm like, okay, I understand. Like I said, I understand both of them. I gave them both the benefit of the doubt. I understand both of them, and I'm like, I got you now, and it's in that in the end, I'm like, it's not going to work out unless one of them is willing to, or if they both willing to meet halfway.
Yeah, and this is what I have to say about this because we've had letters where people have described the same scenario and then end up marrying the person and then want to write in later.
Yeah,
So here's what I have to say.
yeah,
When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. Like, he's already showing you the type of person that he
yeah,
is. Like, believe him. Like, if somebody tells you that they're crazy, okay, thank you so much for telling me that you're crazy. I know better, so let me back up because you already done told me that you're crazy now.
yeah.
A year from now, when you do something, don't say, "Oh, you crazy." Yeah, they told you they were crazy. You should have believed them in the first place.
Exactly. And you have some people that actually say, "Well, you said you seen it from the beginning. You should have believed it."
Exactly.
So
I
it's funny because we can laugh about it, but I've heard people say, because like I said, by me being a counselor, I've heard, man, some of the stories I've heard, man, I just shake my head. And they've asked me, well, what you think about it? Oh man, you don't really want to know what I think about it, because it's like, man, can this person, didn't this person even see? and it's like you said, oh, this person had to be blind not to see that. And
That's what.
sometimes that is so true. The person is blind, or they think, oh, I can change her, I can make her understand,
Uh,
and or him,
mm.
and that doesn't work either.
Yeah, that's why they got that song "Love Is Blind," and it will take over your mind, and it is absolutely true, and it'll make you see things that are not really there. And like you said, if you have grown up with the spirit of control, which is no good, that's from the enemy,
Yeah.
but you'll think that you can change somebody.
Oh yeah.
Can't change nobody. The Bible tells us that we need to focus on self-control because that's so important. So now every day that we wake up, we have to focus on controlling self because everything starts with self. And it's such a task and such a feat to control yourself on a daily basis. Because when you wake up, you got to start doing it again. What makes you think that you can focus on controlling somebody else if you can't even control
Right.
yourself?
And you know what? You have some people that would tell you, "Oh, well, you thought you was gonna change me? You can't change me. Only I can change me, and I'm not gonna change." I mean, I've heard. I mean, like I said, I've heard all of that, and I'm like, you know what? If a person, if like you said, that's why they said date, don't live together, date, and at least get half as understanding of that person and what they're looking for. And if
Mm,
they tell you these things here and they don't align with you, hey man, go ahead. You need to go ahead and get away from
right. It's a wrap.
them. Yeah, yeah. That's how. Yeah, that's how you really have to look at it. And a lot of people, they don't look at it like that. They say,
Right.
oh man, the sex is good, and that's the man. Every time I hear that, I be like, dude, do you realize that that's gonna get old, man? I said that's
Probably.
gonna get old. And I didn't learn that till my mom. My mom made a comment. I probably told you this once before. My mom said, "I don't understand the difference. It's all the same. It's just a different voice you and I'm like, oh, okay. And she told us, she said, it's all the same. It's just a different voice. And my sister said, did you hear what she said? I'm like, yeah, I heard what I heard what she said. I'm like, hey, I ain't gonna argue with her about it.
I said within the first year, I say 2 years, your hormones are out of
Yes,
control, and by the second year, it starts to fade away. So then I think you will truly know what you're dealing with at that moment.
right.
And I think after that moment, most people are already wrapped up and entangled and they don't know what to do because within the first 3 to 6 months, somebody's really going to show you who they are. But that's also the most time where there's a lot of bedroom action going on. There's a lot of mind playing going
Yeah.
on, and love is blind. It'll take over your mind. So you got to be careful within those first 3 to 6 months because within the first 3 months they're going to show you exactly who they are. But by 6 months you're already so far gone, and you probably made a mistake or commitment that you probably shouldn't have. And people who get married, have kids, move in, and then by the second year they can't stand each other because they realize, oh, that done worn off. This don't mean
Hey,
nothing.
dude, I
What
told
you
you when I got married, I was like, I stood up there and I said to myself, what the hell did I do? you know, and I did. It was like, I'm like, oh man, and then I just said, okay, I had to deal with it. And it turned out the way when I said that, it turned out that way. What the hell did I do when I knew better?
I'm not trying to say that marriage is not good. Like, I don't want to
Right.
say that. But I do know that on my second part of my life, this is the first time that I've experienced the single life, which I probably should have done it when I was younger, but I did it the opposite way. But I will tell you that every time that I have done that, the hype leading up to it, it's amazing. You think that it's great. Oh, we're about to get married, we're engaged, the whole thing. But then as soon as you say I do, like for me anyway, the next day, it was like, well, what did I just do?
Yeah. Hey,
Like, what's
it
gonna
didn't take
happen?
me a day afterward. It took me right after I say I do, and I stood up there and you know they kind of looked at everybody looked at me, and I'm like, what the hell I do? You know?
and, and it's not it for me. It wasn't like, but it was like now, like I've given up my power. I've given up my freedom. Like
Yeah,
I no longer can make choices and decisions on my own. Like now I need to like
yeah,
partner with somebody else for every little thing
yeah, yeah, yeah.
over my own life. Yeah, no, I'm good
Yeah,
today.
and I
I'm
tell
good with
people, I
that.
say, I'm not against marriage. If that's what you want, hey, go for it. Marriage is not for everybody. I would tell anybody that it's not for everybody, you know. So, hey, you know, for those who can deal with it, they enjoy it and they have a long life together. Hey, I take my hat off to them. But I know for me, saying I do ever again is not something I want to do.
Right. I was having this conversation yesterday about that. And this is what I have to say today. If people want to do it, just like you said, like the Michael Jacksons or the Jacksons record,
Yeah,
enjoy yourself.
yeah,
Enjoy yourself. I love it. Just invite me to the wedding.
yeah.
Because I love going to weddings.
Now, see, that ain't my thing. There, I ain't gonna lie, man. I think I've been to one wedding my whole life. I've been to
I,
one wedding, and you know, hey, it was a nice wedding, but you know, then I look at it, and Diana, don't get mad at me when I say that. When- no, I went to a nice wedding, but then a lot of times you spend all that money on a wedding, and then next thing you know, they're getting a divorce. And you're
yeah.
saying
But
all this money you spent on a wedding, and it's like almost like saying I gave money away.
yeah. But
Because the reason why I said that,
here
because the only wedding I've been to when her daughter got married, and you know, we went. It was a beautiful wedding, you know, and hey, it was nice, but you know, 7 years. Hey, it lasted only 7 years.
oh, they're still together.
No, no, no.
Oh,
And you know what? It's funny. Her daughter seemed more happier being on her own by
of course.
herself than when she was married.
Of course, she had to find out who she was.
Yes, and then,
Yeah,
it's like, and then since she's moved back here, because she was out in L.A. That's why we was going out there so much at the time. And since she moved back here, we see her like maybe 2 times, 3 times a week, and she's always smiling.
I'm the happiest that I have ever been in my life, and I have been married twice, and I am the happiest that I have been in my life, and I have been single for 5 years now,
Wow, I take my hat off to you, man.
and and I'll tell you that that's by choice because I gotta like dodge and put my bulletproof vest on. Like, no, like I'm not getting wrapped up into this because nah, I can't. So,
You know, well, that's
but
like me. Her and I, we live together, but we talk freely about the things She know a lot about me that a lot of them don't know, and I know a lot about her that people don't know. And we get along. We don't even argue. With, if I get mad at her, I go get my headphones, put my headphones on. She'll go sit in her chair, grab her tablet, and she's on her tablet. I'll listen to my music, and then, but we don't go to bed mad. You know,
Absolutely.
and that's the thing. She taught me that too. She said, "Oh no, no, we ain't gonna go to bed mad."
Yeah, that's in the scriptures too. You ain't supposed to do that.
Right. And but we do a lot of talking. And I found out by us doing a lot of talking, our relationship is good. It's smooth. She helps me out, I help her out.
Yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be.
And just like she said, well, if it hadn't been for you, I wouldn't have been traveling. I wouldn't have flown on planes. I'm like, well, hey, if it hadn't been for you, I wouldn't
See?
I wouldn't have traveled like I did. I mean, even though don't get me wrong, I was traveling, but I wasn't going like out in California all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it all comes full circle.
Yes.
And in this letter here, this girl, Miss Jalissa, she just needs to continue on her journey. And that's why I said these life lessons, and I said at the beginning of the show, it's better off that you figure it out on your own. If you feel that you need somebody so much to make you whole, pause the brakes.
Yeah.
Let's do some soul searching. Let's try to figure out these life lessons on your own. Don't be anything like me where it takes you to where you get 40 and realize, oh, like everything was within me first. I didn't need to go seek outside. But sometimes you do it the way that I did it, where you jump off the porch soon as you become old enough to be out on your own, and you want to rip and run and attach yourself to other people because you think that that's it. It's best off if you figure it out on your own first rather than somebody else making an example out of you.
Well, she already said, as far when the communication comes to finance, she already said how it is. So that won't change. When
Right.
that's not gonna change. So, she just either she put it like this: either she stick with it or she move on. And I mean, I say that a lot because that's just the way it is. I mean, she already letting you know everything. Yeah, other things is cool, but when we talk about finance, and when you find a person and you can't talk to them about about finances, there's gonna be an issue there, and it's gonna always
Hmm.
be a problem. It's gonna be an argument or a disagreement. It's going to be a lot of stress, all that. And until you have to be able to talk about everything without it being stressful.
Stop reading my life story, my past life stories. Okay. Uh, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to tune into how we answered these questions tonight, if you want to tune in on tonight's assignment, please feel free to text that 609 200 1098. I'm
Well,
telling
see,
you.
I'm talking from experience myself too. Hey, and that's the way. I mean, you have to be. You had to, like you said, you had to be compatible in all areas, not just one particular area. Because if it
Right.
is, man, it won't ever work out.
No. Now we're going to just sum it up with this burning
Yeah.
question because, of course, it flows into what we were talking about. So I'll let you answer this. Can love truly flourish when one person is financially disciplined and the other lives for the moment?
No.
Right. Right. We already know
Yeah.
better. Don't think so. I mean, you can spend a lot of time thinking, but again, just like you said, there's always going to be some argument, there's always going to be some disagreement. And from my example, it would happen every other month, every time there was a major, you know, bill that needed to be paid, every time it was a rainy yeah, every time it was a rainy day, when it rains, it pours, every time life happened and something broke and there was a major repair, there was something going on.
Oh
Someone
yeah, and
was
like I
living.
said, like she said, and I understand. I understand. She was saying that he paid $400 for a dinner, and she was anxious about something else that probably needed. And
Right.
that's gonna cause,
Exactly.
like I said, it's gonna cause problems.
Hmm. Yeah. I don't know who I'm speaking to. I'm only speaking from experience, but I know what you're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that question there, she should already know the answer to that. It won't, it's not gonna work. Enjoy yourself while you can, but then it's gonna be a time when you gonna, because he gonna get tired of you always talking about how he spent his money. I guarantee you that he
Yeah.
gonna get tired of it, and
Mm.
she gonna get tired of asking him about it, and he gonna get tired of hearing it from her.
Hmm. And then on the flip side, as we close this out,
Yep.
somebody is not going to get tired of him spending the money.
Exactly. It's gonna be somebody out there that's gonna take him all the way to the, as they say, to the bank and cleaners.
Mm. All right, ladies and gentlemen. 609-200-1098. That's the official 411 podcast reading between the wines hotline. If you want to chime in, maybe you have a different perspective because listen, we all got different thought processes of how we, digest these things. So let us know how you feel. You can comment once we post it on social media and all that great stuff. And yeah. So there you go, Birdman. We got another episode. So what do you think?
I enjoyed it. Like I do. I mean,
That's what's
I
up.
enjoy all our episodes because at the end we can sit back and laugh about it. But also, I hope that somebody listening, whoever's listening to me, they can understand. I'm not talking about them.
Right.
I'm talking about the that person that wrote this, and I incorporated through how my life has been and the things I went through. Because believe it or not, as you get older, you realize we all go through them same changes, but in a different way.
I realized that as I go through week after week and I'm like, are we doing this? Like, are you serious that somebody's writing in about this? Didn't we just discuss something like this? But I realized how many people are in this world, Laren, and you're not going to be able to interact with every single person. Somebody might listen in, the other person may not. This is real life situations. So the fact that some of these themes continuously repeat themselves time and time again lets me know that everybody is going through the same thing.
Yeah, I had to learn. I'm like, wow, man. You know what? I'm looking at all this, and it's like everybody going through the same thing, but it's like it's a cycle,
Mhm. Mhm.
but everybody does it
But
differently.
yeah. And responds like whatever is going to happen in life is one thing, life is going to happen to you, but the most important thing is how you react to it.
Exactly.
Yeah, we all go through some of the same things, but what changes, what's the game changer is reaction behind it, the response behind it. Somebody might curse you out in a grocery store, but the smart person is going to keep their mouth shut and keep it moving. But the ignorant one is going to go back and forth and cause a big old issue. Same thing
Yeah,
happened, but somebody just handled it differently.
yes, I've had that happen to me so many times. And I'm just like, I'm not gonna be childish. I'm not gonna be foolish to stoop down to your level.
I know. Now I just pray for people. Under my breath, I just pray for them, like God. And first of all, I'm praying for myself, like God. Now you know who I am, right? Because you made me, and you know that back in the day I would have been turned this place upside down, right? So please give me the strength, the courage, and the wisdom to get up out of here without starting something today.
I've had people who almost ran into me and they cussed me out, and I'm like, I don't say nothing. I just, whatever, man, or like a couple weeks ago when I was up in Austin and the lady, I'm on my way to a reading and the lady just sitting there, the light is green. And this one car went around because they was tired of waiting. I went around and then she come flying by and she looked over at me, gave me the dirtiest look. Then she flew by me, got up to the next car and did the same thing. Well, the light was green. You was just sitting there. She was on her phone. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. And
Yeah, now
go ahead.
yeah, nowadays with the road rage, you got to be very careful. Back in the day, you could like give somebody the finger and keep it moving. If you give somebody the finger now or gesture any type of way that you want some smoke, oh, they gonna give it to you.
Yeah. And I've had,
They'll be wait. They'll be wait.
yeah, it's the crazy part is it's been the females. I've had one where I pulled around her, pulled up at the stop, and she pulled up, rolled her window down, cussed me out, and said I will get my gun, and I just pulled it.
Oh, and yeah, because in Texas that's possible.
Oh yeah, everybody carrying a gun. I just pulled on off, man, and she kept trying, because of other cars, she kept trying to come around, and I'm like, what is wrong with this lady? I mean, like she was the one sitting there. I just got tired of waiting for her, so I went around. I didn't blow the horn. I didn't say nothing, and I'm like, then when I blow the horn, they don't say nothing. When I don't blow the horn, that's when they want to just go, ape crazy, And I'm like, man, this is crazy world now.
Yeah, it is. Wow. All right. So what you got going on this week in your world?
Oh, let me see. Tomorrow night on Zoom, it's called Journal of Expressive Writing. I'm reading on that. And then Friday, we're going down to Galveston for a couple of days. I'm gonna be shooting some videos. And this time though, I'm gonna shoot the videos that I shoot. It's gonna be for like I'm gonna do the video when I put it together. It's gonna be like 6 or 7 minutes long of poetry, and all it's gonna have is water in the background.
That's my favorite. Water, the sound of water, looking at water. I love
And
that. My
then,
favorite.
other than that, I don't know. I was talking with a friend today, and he was telling me about one of our poetry friends, and they said him and his wife always tell me, man, when you come up, he'll come out and go to open mics. He has PTSD really bad, and he's an older person, and we've done him and I and him and Diana when she's with us. We've gone to dinner so many times. We sit around. We call him Ben Franklin. That's what I'm gonna say. And his poetry is all gonna be political. He's had people who has really dogged him about it, and I just tell him, hey man, I don't care if you weren't doing political, man. You got some people, they gonna say something because you can stand up and do it. You have that. And like I said, he's PTSD, he was in the military. And when I go up there, man, he'll come out his room and he'll just be smiling. We'll sit there and talk. And the other guy, he'll do poetry. And Ben, I always call him Ben. We'll just sit there and listen to him, and we be talking about how he can just flow off. I have to read mine just like he does, and I'm thinking about. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what day to go up there, but I know if I go up there, I want to be able to go up there when we can go to open mics and I can get them out the house. And
Yeah,
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 and Tom and his wife always said, "We appreciate you coming around." They said, "Don't ever come to town and don't come and visit us."
yeah, yeah.
And
That
go ahead.
that's a amazing thing that you do. That's God's work there.
Yeah,
So that's good.
yeah. So I just got just really like I said, I just got those two things this week. My of course you can find my books on Amazon.com, Birdman313. My YouTube is youtube.com, author poet Birdman31355. My Instagram is Birdman31355. I got videos on Spotify, and it's Spotify. If you go to Spotify, you have to go to the Coffee, Wine, and Words channel, and you have to scroll down because you could find all 11 of my videos as you scroll through the other videos that's on there. And basically, that's about it.
All right. It's rest and relaxation for me this week.
Yeah,
I've got a lot of things to do on this weekend, catching up on some paperwork and stuff like that. But
yeah.
yeah,
Well, since
I'm relaxed.
we're not traveling. And matter of fact, it's funny. One of the airports, it's the only one we go to when we go out in LA. They, the tower people are not working, and they still got planes coming in, flying in, and it's the tower from San Diego. Believe that or not, it's not LAX that's guiding them in. It's the tower from San
Hmm.
Diego, man, that's guiding these airplanes in. And we've just decided we're not going nowhere this year. We'll wait till next year. And that's why we're taking like these little trips up in Austin or, down here in Galveston. We still doing our little travels like we always do. And that's what's going on.
Yeah, that's smart. I get you. There's a whole lot of nonsense that's going on with the travel, and yeah, I got you.
And I mean,
I get it.
we've had our delays. Where one time we was out there and we was sitting in Phoenix, man, and they had to bring a crew in from Florida to get us to
Mm.
Houston, man. And I thought that was crazy, but now I'm hearing that there's nobody in the tower. And I'm like, oh no. And then we was watching earlier. It was this one guy who had been a pilot, and he said that's dangerous because you got planes. Because
They,
they said how all these different planes, you got commercial, you got the regular planes, you got helicopters, all of them coming to that one out there in Burbank. Bob Hope, yeah,
dangerous.
the Bob Hope,
Da-
yeah, the Bob Hope. So if you see it on the news, that's the one I'm talking about, Bob Hope airport.
I know what you're talking about,
Yeah,
yeah. But you want to talk about dangerous.
yeah,
So I'm not going to fly out of Newark Airport anytime soon because I don't know if you've heard,
yeah,
but you're talking about the tower people.
yeah.
The last that I heard a couple months ago, they were sending people home because they were having nervous breakdowns. They had all types of anxiety because while they're sitting there working on the controls, they will lose power for up to 3 minutes at a time. So for 3 minutes, they don't know whether planes are coming or going, this, that, the next, the other. And yet people are continuously flying out of that airport. I say absolutely not. Until y'all fix whatever is going on over there, absolutely not.
Well, I did hear this today. Newark, Chicago, Houston, um, it's Dallas. It's a few more places. They just cancel flights because of that. Or they said we don't. People are calling in sick that's at the tower because what they're telling people is, hey, come to work. You ain't gonna get paid, but come to work.
This is what I don't before all of this crap happened, before this shutdown. Y'all are sitting here with so much technology, flying people to the moon,
Yeah.
all these self-driving cars, all of this technology, AI, all of this stuff, and you mean to tell me that y'all can't get that figured
Yeah,
out?
because they said most of the towers, the equipment is outdated.
But why? Why is my question. Something don't smell right to me. Ain't nothing outdated. It might be. It might be. This is just me carrying on. It might be, but you doing it on purpose is what I'm trying to say. Because y'all can find money to do whatever you want to
Yeah.
do, however you want to do it. But you let that happen? Nah,
Yes.
please. Something ain't right.
Exactly.
But see, this is when people say, Laren, you just conspiracist and all of
You
this
can
other
call me
stuff.
what
It
you
could
want.
be.
I'm not getting up in no plane. You know. So,
Oh
but yeah,
man.
that's the we had, like I said, we had that one time. It was a few years ago where we had to wait for the people, flight attendants and pilot to come from Florida to fly us in. And it seemed like ever since then, man, it's been like going down. I mean, all these delays. They were showing, all these cancellations, the delays. They were showing towers that was empty. They didn't have people up in it. Newark is one of them. No, the workers
No,
are
thank
not
you.
coming in,
Nope.
and I'm like, man, this is, like you said, it's crazy. And they said they are already understaffed. And then you got pilots that's drunk most of the most of them are drunk. They come to work drunk, or they high, and it's like, do I really want to take that chance?
Mm,
And the passengers is acting a
wow.
fool. So hey, man,
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
yeah. So
Oh man. Yeah.
long as I
But we'll
drive
continue.
down here to Galveston, man, and I can still be on the beach and enjoy it. I
Ain't
guess, hey, man, I'm good with that.
yeah, yeah. Ain't nothing wrong with it. I think this is the year that's okay. And I think if most people have paid attention to what's going on, we probably really weren't supposed to be doing any extensive trips anyway this year because you probably should have been saving your money because look what's going on right now.
Yeah, yeah,
It's all good. It'll bounce back eventually, but yeah, now's not the time to be doing anything crazy like that.
yeah, yeah.
All right, so I will see you next week, same place, same
All
time.
right. You have a good
All right,
weekend.
you too. Take care. I'll talk to
Okay.
you soon. All
Good
right,
night.
good night. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. That was author Birdman 313. Excuse me, I keep doing that. Author poet Birdman 313. And I want to say thank you all so much for joining in. If there's anything that sparked your interest tonight, anything that has to do with debt free living, saving, budgeting, financial literacy, you can head on over to larengaines.com if you want more information. You can apply for a free 15-minute consultation. Apply to see if you qualify. I do have the coaching sessions, which is one on one financial coaching. I also do group sessions as well. This is around debt free living from the spiritual realm, mental, physical, and financial. I always say that my journey, and I believe, and this is what I teach, starts with the spiritual realm first. You got to know who you are. If you don't know who you are spiritually, it will sort of throw you off. So I aligned myself spiritually first. From there, I went into the mental realm and I started to focus on what happened during my childhood when it comes to how I felt about money. my relationship with money. I had to go all the way back. I had to go back to the things that I was taught, the things that I heard, and I began to delete things. I began to delete and rewrite my own story and change my beliefs of how I felt about money from a mental aspect. After that, I started to show up in the physical realm differently. How I interacted with money, my relationship with money changed. How I spent money, how I made money moves, all in the physical realm. So, taking it from spiritual, mental, physical, once those things were in sync and running on all cylinders, the financial just comes so easy. That's one of the things that we really don't have to focus on so much. It just comes so naturally. And it's like all of those are all interconnected. And once you start to tackle one, it makes the next one just a heck of a lot easier. By the time you get the three, spiritual, mental, physical, the financial one, once you learn it, it's just like, okay, I got it. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Head on over to LarenGaines.com if you're interested in debt-free living. This is for anyone who wants to rely on yourself, not borrowing money from somebody else to make it work, not robbing Peter to pay Paul, finally breaking away from being addicted to the credit cards, addicted to the payday loans, addicted to the buy now, pay later, when you want to break free from that type of lifestyle. You may also sign up for my free monthly newsletter. I'm working on it right now actively, Whispers of Wisdom. So if you want to get October's version, head on over to LarenGaines.com and sign up right away, because I will be releasing October's version very shortly. That is inspirational content around debt-free living from all of the four pillars that I spoke about: spiritual, mental, physical, financial. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you so much for joining in. Please feel free to chime in, comment. Let me know how you feel about tonight's episode. I am on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, TikTok, DLive, Twitch, Daily Motion. You may also text me at 609-200-1098. You may also listen to the audio version of this podcast where most podcasts are. For example, we're on iHeartRadio, we're on Deezer, we're on Audacity, we're on Spotify, just to name a few. Again, at Laren Gaines. And on that note, I want to say thank you so much for joining in, and I will see you when I see you. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's a wrap on today's episode of the 411 podcast and Reading Between the Wines, where growth is always on the menu, and every pour reveals a little more truth. The conversation doesn't end here. Have something to say? Want to weigh in on tonight's burning questions? Text us anytime at the official 411 podcast and Reading Between the Wines hotline at 609-200-1098. Stay plugged in across all social media platforms at Laren Gaines. We're live and in the conversation on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, YouTube, DLive, Twitch, and Daily Motion. Prefer to listen on the go? The audio version is streaming on most major podcast outlets. Until we meet again, take what you've learned, sip slow, speak truth, and remember, transformation starts within. Powered by the Black Diamond Consultations Network.